Oh, yes, that's right. Another installment of Mission Impossible comes out today in theaters. And it might be Tom Cruise's, eighth and final film in the franchise? Metro Morning's Jason Gorber caught the movie at the Cannes Film Festival. That's where we've reached him this morning. Eating a croissant. Yeah. Are you finished yet?
Yeah. No, but let's just give a shout out to peach iced tea. The magic that is peach iced tea that I consume in copious amounts to keep me awake. I don't drink coffee, but that's a whole nother conversation. We could just talk about food. I'm in France. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about nourishment.
We're going to talk about the glitz and glamour. Glitz and glamour of Tom Cruise. You shook his hand. One of the great things
that happened to me. Well, yeah, exactly. He shook my hand, I will have you know. I was standing there. He reached out to me. Tom Cruise was here with Mission Impossible. This normally happens that you have a big splashy premiere, and you get some exciting people. When he was here with Top Gun Maverick, he actually jumped out of a plane. I was not at the big black tie premiere, but I got to see the film. Tom Cruise is, in many ways, the last great movie star. We've talked about this before. Mission Impossible movies are a lot of fun. This one is bad. In fact, it might be terrible. It might be the worst one of the 8.
Really?
That being said, as I will say explicitly, if you're ever going to see Final Reckoning, the only way to see this is on the biggest screen you can. Because otherwise, it's ridiculous to even consider doing it any other way. Because so much of it is spectacle. It has, the term set piece, where you have like a big action sequence. So there's 2 big set pieces here. There's one that's on a submarine that this scuba diver found incredibly annoying. They spend so much time with talking about like gas and the bends and all this stuff, and then just it all goes out the window because of CGI nonsense. But there are elements of that sequence where Tom Cruise is doing completely ridiculous things underwater, and you sort of celebrate that. And then there's this thing on the poster, which is this biplane sequence late in the film, where he is doing just preposterous things with a plane falling out of the sky, and you're like, cool, you're watching a gazillionaire movie star doing things that no sane person would do. They made a big deal at that conversation I was at, saying they went to all these safety people saying, could we do this? They're like, it's absolutely impossible to do. So they just found new safety people. They just found new people to go ahead and do it. So as that, but that is maybe, let's say, half hour, 45 minutes of a 3-hour film, which, 3-ish, a 2 and a bit hour film, 170 minutes, excuse me, that plays out like a clip show, like a greatest hits of what came before, like spending all of its time wrapping things up and telling you it's wrapping it up and telling you what the plan is to wrap it up. It's just so disappointing. And we know the 6th one, I guess 2 films ago, was amazing. The 7th one was okay, and this one was just a dud, unfortunately. But if you want to see the great actor on the big screen, whatever your views of him and his nonsense, it is worth seeing on the big screen if you're ever going to see it. Otherwise, just skip this one.
But it's really dominating the conversation at Cannes, right? And there are so many other great films.
Well, it's dominating the conversation in the sense that you have somebody like Tom Cruise. And for what it's worth, Ken spends all this time looking for these tiny, esoteric art films, and then as soon as a true movie star shows up, they lose their mind. I was here for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and when it was Tarantino, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Leonardo DiCaprio, people were melting. And the people with press credentials will slam and ask for autographs. It's insane. So yes, this collision between the grandeur of Hollywood and the trying to find the 3-hour incredibly quiet that nothing actually happens movie is exactly what makes this festival both infuriating and incredibly special.
Are there any highlights you want to share? Anything that sort of stuck with you beyond Mission Impossible?
Look, and talking about a genre film, one of the great experiences I've ever had at a Cannes was I saw a film called Dangerous Animals, which is actually coming out in Toronto in a couple of weeks. I assumed it would be on the festival run. It's a movie about a serial killer that feeds his victims to sharks. And it was amazing.
Wow.
But I also saw Nouvelle Vague, the new film by Richard Linklater, where he actually recreates the filming of Breathless, Godard's Breathless. So to see that film projected on film in black and white at Cannes, where a huge chunk of the film takes place at the very streets that I was sort of on, was amazing. Dossier 137, this cop drama. There's a bunch of documentaries that played. There's a bunch of, look, I've seen, I don't know, so I'm delirious, because I am delirious, but I've seen dozens and dozens of films. Some of them have worked, some of them haven't. I was there when Scarlett Johansson premiered her film. I was there when other stars sort of showed up and actually navigated. But it's the quote-unquote tiny little ones. There's a film called Pillion with Alexander Skarsgård about it's sort of a weird, darkly sexual, a 90s sort of style film about a motorcyclist, and they get in a sort of BDSM relationship. It sounds very dark and very heavy, but it's extraordinary and absolutely one of the films we will be talking about for the rest of the year. So I have seen films that you and I will be discussing for the next 12 months, all here at this extraordinary, extraordinary festival.
Fantastic. I'm going to let you go back and have another croissant.
I'm about to go see Kubrick's masterpiece, Barry Lyndon, on the big screen that I've been waiting 20 years for. This is what I get to do. The film I'm most looking forward to, Cannes, I'm about to see in about an hour, which is a restoration of this magnificent film. I love this festival, and I love being able to speak with you.
Well, enjoy it all. Enjoy it all. Talk to you soon.
Take care, Joe.
Jason Gorber is Metro Morning's film columnist and editor-in-chief of ThatShelf.com. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning comes out in theaters today.
ThatShelf.